Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar, Getting Started on the Path to Your Data Insights. I hope everybody is staying safe in these strange times we live in. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. You will have the opportunity to submit text questions to today's presenter by typing your questions in the question pane of the control panel. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation. We will collect these and address them during the Q&A session at the end of today's presentation. I would like to introduce the team presenting today. Jonheidur will start with explaining the process of setting LS Insight up and get started. Then Kristinn, Thor, will go through some highlights of the predefined reports included with the sales and inventory module. Then Jonheidur will finish up the demo by showing our newest addition, LS Insight for hotels. So now Jonheidur will take control and show you the magic of onboarding LS Insight.
Thank you, Kristinn. Hi, everyone. Like Kristinn said, my name is Jonheidur, and in the next few minutes, I would like to answer the following questions. Why do I need LS Insight? What is it? And how do I get started? Let's start with the why. Every day, a retailer generates and gathers vast amounts of data. That data is the most important asset of the retail business, and it's becoming increasingly important that we transform it into insights that deliver true value. These insights can help us maintain momentum and run a successful business in these times of uncertainty and evolving retail environment. We would all like to move from viewing our data in regular tables and reports in LS Central to descriptive visuals and dashboards available from anywhere, even our smartphones. And we want this without the time, cost, and complexity of creating a business intelligent data warehouse and solution from scratch. But how do we get there? Is there a magic BI button somewhere we can press that turns our data into valuable insights for our business? For LS Central, the magic BI button is called LS Insight. But what exactly is LS Insight? Let's take a look. Here we can see an overview image of the LS Insight architecture. LS Insight is a complete BI solution with sales and inventory reports for LS Central and can be set up for LS Central on-prem from version 8.4 to the current versions. And of course, the older versions of LS NAV from version 8.4. And the best part is that it's free of charge to all LS Central and LS NAV partners and customers. Like you can see here, it consists of a few components. First, we have the LS Central source database. This is your back office LS Central database, and it can be located in Azure on a virtual machine or on an on-premise server. Next, we have the Azure resources. The SQL server, the SQL data warehouse database that has been designed in a star schema, and the Azure Data Factory that contains all the pipelines that load the data from LS Central into the data warehouse. Then we have the Power BI templates containing the data models and reports. Currently, we have two standard templates for sales and inventory reporting. And then we have the latest edition, a template for the LS Central Hotels extension that will be released in the near future. The last component is the front end. This is the Power BI service where administrators can publish apps and share them with different users within the organization, such as managers and those in charge of purchases and employees, for example. All of these components of LS Insight can be set up in a few simple steps that require no in-depth knowledge of data warehouses, report building, or Azure. The data warehouse has been designed by LS Central BI experts, and the reports are already created. So no time-consuming design meetings or complicated integration is needed. We have done the work for you and now offer a solution that can be set up from beginning to end within a couple of days. Now that we've covered the why and the what of LS Insight, let's move on to the how. The LS Insight setup consists of 5 steps that are described in detail in our online onboarding documentation that is available to all in the LS Insight section of the LS Central Online Help. The first step in the setup process is to create the Azure account and resource group and the Power BI Pro account. You need to set up an Azure account with a resource group that gives you access to create SQL servers and databases and a data factory. We also recommend that you make sure that your Power BI account has a Pro license so you can publish and distribute your reports. You can get by using only Power BI Desktop for free, but this service makes the distribution of reports within the organization so much easier. Step 2 is to download the LS Insight product folder from the LS Retail Partner portal. You fill out a simple form and receive an email a few minutes later with download links to the product folder and a link to the onboarding process. The product folder you downloaded contains all the files needed to set up LS Insight. The ARM template files with the queries used in the data factory pipelines, the deployment script, the Power BI report templates, and the parameter text file. Step 3 is to set up the parameter file and run the deployment script. In the parameter text file, you need to add information about your Azure subscription ID, the LS Central source database and server, and choose names for the Azure resources, the data factory, SQL server, and database. And you also need to select the login and password for the database admin user. Please note that none of the Azure resources exist at this point. They will be created later by the deployment script using the parameters from the file. The deployment script can be run using any PowerShell application, but we usually use VS Code or PowerShell ISE. The script prompts for the LS Central version you're running and for whether you want to set up LS Insight for LS Central only or include the LS Central for Hotels extension. The script also prompts for your Microsoft login that was used when creating the Azure account. The script then creates the SQL server and SQL database for the data warehouse in Azure, along with the Azure data factory containing all the pipelines that fetch the data from LS Central and feed it into the data warehouse. Step 4 is to set up a gateway and run the pipelines. If the LS Central database is on-premise, the Integration Runtime Management Gateway needs to be set up on a machine that is always running. We recommend that this is not the same machine as the SQL server is running on. Once the gateway is up and running, you can trigger a pipeline run to load your data into the data warehouse. If the LS Central database is located on an Azure virtual machine, there is no need for a gateway and the pipelines can be run straight away. Step 5, the last step, is to connect the report templates to the data warehouse and then publish the reports to the Power BI service. When the pipelines have done the initial load, you can open the Power BI template files. When you open the files, you'll be prompted for connection info to the Azure SQL Server and Data Warehouse database that were just created by the script. Once you've entered the info, the data is loaded from Azure to the Power BI data model and displayed in the reports, and you can then finalize the process by publishing your reports to a workspace in the Power BI service, ready to be viewed and shared with others in your organization. To refresh your data on a regular basis, we recommend setting up a schedule for incremental loading of data from LS Central to the data warehouse and from the data warehouse to Power BI service. This concludes the overview of the Alice Insight product architecture and onboarding process. And Kristinn will now take over again and continue to go over the options you have once you've published your report to the Power BI service.
So, I'm going to go over a few main factors or main elements of the reports. So to start with, how do I create a dashboard and share information with others in my organization using alerts and subscription? This is the Power BI server environment. So this is the workspace, and if you have followed the steps that Jonheidur has just described, you will have the reports available here. You have the data sets and reports for each data set. What we want to do also is to create a dashboard. So a dashboard can include visuals from multiple reports plus other resources. So I will start by showing that by opening the Alice Insight sales report. So here you have the options to edit the report. You can comment with your coworker. You can subscribe to the report, so you can get a email with this report on a schedule. I'll show you that later on in the dashboard. So at my view, better option. So we're going to start by pinning a visual to a dashboard. So to create a dashboard, you just click on the pin visual on all the visuals or any visuals you want to have in the dashboard. You can add it to a existing dashboard, or what I'm going to do now is to create a new dashboard called demo. I'm going to pin this to this. Okay. Just to have more than one visual in that dashboard, I'm going to open this report page here. I'm going to pin this diagram here, or visual here, also to the dashboard I just created called demo. Okay. So now I'm going to go to the dashboards. So here is the dashboard I just created, the demo dashboard. It's very easy to resize and rearrange the elements that you are using in the dashboard, creating a very customizable view of your data. It's also possible to create a phone view of this dashboard. So if you click on the phone view, you can, in the same sense, resize. You can unpin from the phone view and make this look like anything you want. So, and this is live, so you don't need to go into any publishing effects for this. This is now available in your mobile application. If we go back to the web view, I want to show you also the comments. So here you can comment or have a discussion with your coworker about the data you see here. You can subscribe to this. I'm going to show that maybe in the other dashboards. One thing I forgot to mention also is the add tile. So it's possible to add web content, image, text box, video, and a custom streaming data, giving you possibility to have a data set here or visual showing live streaming data from any source. So if I go back to the predefined or the dashboard I created earlier, you can see that I have a photo here or image. I have a text box, which is just a link to the reports. And then I have visuals from from all the reports available to me. So imagine that a regional manager might want to get alerts when yesterday's sales go below some value, or a store manager wants to be notified if inventory count for a specific item goes under a threshold. Then you can create a custom dashboard for that purpose and set alerts to the relevant metrics. And the correct people will get the information at the right time. So if we would create a dashboard, and then you can click on the metrics that you want to follow, and you can click on the manage alerts, and you can add a rule so that if this metric, the margin, goes above or under a certain amount, certain number, value, then you get notification, and you can have it as an email also. I'm not going to say this, and as I showed you before, you can also subscribe to this dashboard and get it on an hourly, daily, weekly. So this is very handy when you would have a dashboard that is with key information about your company or organization, and you want to have this dashboard sent as a report to the board that is meeting every week or every month. So they'll always have up-to-date data available to them. So the next thing I wanted to show you is the difference between a workspace and a app. So Workspace is a place to create an app for the organization. So if I open up again the Workspace, so this is a Workspace. So it's possible to use the Workspace as your environment for consuming data and sharing with coworkers. However, I do recommend using the Workspace for developing the apps that are then consumed by the relevant personnel. The reason being that you can continue editing, adding dashboards, or create your own visuals, even experiment within the Workspace without affecting the user experience in the app. Then when you're happy with the changes you have made in the Workspace, you can update the app. So you can decide, you can create a dashboard, and then you can decide you don't want it included in the app. So I'm going to deselect this here. Initially, when you would do this, you would have a button here called that says Publish App, but because I've done this before, it's an Update App. So you would click on the Update App or Publish App, enter the app name, the description, create a logo, add a logo and a theme for it. Then you can go to the navigation, and here you would create how the navigation is in your app. So here I have a section for dashboards. You have multiple dashboards here. Then I have a section for reports with all the reports available. And then I have a section for external links with just a link to a help webpage. And then you have the permission. So here we decide on who is going to see this app, who can see it. In this case, the entire organization, so everybody within LS Retail can see this or can acquire this. But I could have it as a group of the regional managers or store managers or whatever you want. When you've done with all the settings, you would go to the Update App or Publish App. Initially Publish App and now Update App. I'm not gonna do that now. Instead, I'm just going to go to the apps and show you the app that was created. So this is basically the same layout as I had in the Workspace, with the dashboards, the reports, and the external links, and all the report pages here. And what I wanted to mention also is that you have the same option here in the 3 dots here. You can manage the alerts for the KPIs, so the consumer can create a alert that he or she wants to follow. So you don't have to manage that for everybody within the organization. Same applies to the subscribe. You can subscribe to a dashboard in the app also. Now I want to show you how to get some insights into discounts and offer using LS Insight. So I'm going to open the discount page here under sales. Okay, so here we have the discount metrics like average discount, sales amount on discount period, total discount, margin from discount sales, margin percent from discount sales. And you have a table here with the same metrics grouped by the offer type description. And you also have a hover visual there showing you how this discount type evolves over the months, and you have the additional metric there called max discount. So you can see that in the line discount you have a max discount of 95%. So this is something that I would want to look into. So I can go to the drill through option and go to the discount details. I'm gonna click on that. Where am I? Okay, and now you can see that you have this 95% discount. You have the transaction number, and you can see that this is deactively giving 95% discount. Now this could be something that is okay, but it's good to have the information available to you because you never know. I'm going to go back to the home page here. And you might want to be able to export a list of members that meet a set of criteria, perhaps for a distribution list or a focused campaign, or get a list of not returning members. This is a easy thing to do with LS Insight. I'm going to show you that here. One thing is I want to mention before I go there is the reset to default button. So it's very good to know that any filters that you apply in when you're using the report, they will stay. So even if I log out and come back tomorrow, I will have the same filters applied. So if you have done some filtering when you're experimenting with the data, it's very good to reset to default, just to be clear, be sure that you don't have any hidden filters anywhere in the report. So I'm going to go to the member filter. Go to the member filter here. So you have a button called Show Member Filter. I'm going to change the parameters here a little bit, and select the gender, no gender, and show member list. So now I have a list of members that meet this criteria. But I might also want to see, okay, these are the members that fit the criteria. I might want to be able to see is anyone within that list considered lost. So if he's considered lost if he hasn't come to the store within a certain time period. So you can do that in the additional filter options here. So member is lost, you can say yes to that. And now you have two members that have not come to the store within a time period. I'll show you that better in a bit. For anyone not familiar with all the visuals and measures available in the reports, you might also have a question that is not answered with the standard visuals available. Then it can be useful to use the Q&A feature, where you can just use simple English and ask a question. I'm gonna reset to default again to be sure that I don't have any filters applied, which I do because I was messing with the member filters. And I'm gonna click on the Ask Me a Question button. This is where you can ask a question. So you have a predefined questions here, and you can edit the list of predefined questions in the workspace. And just for demonstration, I'm going to click on the top here, net sales on Monday compared to Sunday as a column chart. So now I have the net sales Sunday versus Monday. So let's say I want to add a related question on top of this answer set. Then I can just click on the Ask a Related Question, enter a follow-up question, so group by reporting store. Now I have the same answer grouped by stores. And you can continue asking questions, digging deeper into the data this way. And you will have the answer history lining up here. Now I want to show you how you can list up members who bought an item, and in the same way showing you how you can list up members that did not buy an item. I'm going to do that using the store growth page. This can be done in any report page where you can drill down to the item level in the reports, which is on most pages. So I'm gonna drill down to store 3, do the division here, category, and group. And now I have a item level here, item 3303. And I can right click, go to the drill through, and I have the two bottom options here, members bought and members not bought. So I'm going to click on, so this will show you the list of the members that bought this item. This will show you the list of members who did not buy this item. So we're going to click on members bought. So now we have a list of members that bought this item. You can always go to the export data option, and you can export this list as a Excel or CSV file. This is very handy if you want to create a email list or based on some buying history. But I might also be interested in knowing, okay, what about the customers that bought this item in all the stores? Then you can use the filter pane here on the right side. Okay, and you have the applied filters here, and you can say, okay, here is the reporting store, it's store number 3. I can select a different store, or I can just clear this filter out, showing all members that bought item 3303, regardless of the store. So I'm going to reset to default after this. So to go further in the members, I want to show you the member insights we have. So we have a specific member report. So that's here. And here we have some measures like the sales increase due to loyalty members, margin increase, member sales ratio, returning members, member sales, and lost members. I'll explain lost members in a bit. You also have the sales by age group at point of sale and the gender split here. So here you have the list with showing the same measures by month. And like I told you before, we don't have any lost members in this data now. But to show you the functionality, I'm going to open the filter page, go to the show member filters, and here you can adjust the days count criteria for lost members. So if I'm going to drag this, so 90 here means a member has not come to the store. So a member came to the store and then he did not come in 90 days. Then he is considered lost. I'm going to drag this down to 24. Now my criteria is that if a member does not come back in the store in 24 days, he is considered lost. I'll go back here using the back button. And now I have in December 8, November and December 8 lost members. And you can see the numbers here for the lost members align here. You also have 9 returning or recovered members. So recovered members are members that were lost but came back after the days you set in the member filter. So now I'm going to compare periods and items. Okay, we have a report page called Period Analysis. So this page is not affected with the filter page. So we will not. So the time filter on the filter page will not affect this page. But you can use this to compare the periods in the dataset. So I'm going to click on here weekends, and I want to see only the weekends of July and only 2016 versus 2018. So here I have the item quantity for the weeks in July. That's meet the criteria, weekend, July, and these 2 years. You can also change the measure you are using. So you can click on the net sales, margin, and again, item quantity, and discounts. To deselect, just click on the visual here and we'll go back to the starting point. I also want to compare items. Here I am going to compare this item here versus 14745. So I'm going to click on this here. So now I have, these are some obscure items here. Don't deselect them here. Okay. Now I have two items that I'm comparing, and I can see the net sales by store and the period here, or the by date. I also, like before, I can change the measure I'm using to compare. And if I go to the discount, I can see there's a spike here in August. Yep, the 8th of August. And that's in store number 3. Like you can see this big chunk here. So what I can do is, I want to see a little bit more about this data here. So I can go to the staff performance list. And I can sort by the average discount. And I can see that we have Jack Dibley again having the highest discount in this item. So I'm going to enable the drill down option here. I'm going to click on Jack Dibley and go through the hierarchy of dimension, category, product group, down to the item. And you can see that you have this 50% discount here. And now I want to go and drill through to the discount details to see what's going on with this item with Jack Dibley. So Jack Dibley has sold this item 2 times in this period, and for one time he gave 5% and the other 95%. So this is certainly something that I would look into. And here you can go and comment and enter your coworker's name or your store manager and say, hello, what's up with Jack Dibley? Is he taking his meds? Okay, so I'm going to go back here. I think I will reset this to default now. So now I'm going to go to the last item on my agenda. So the inventory detail report. So we have the sales report and then we have the inventory report, and I'm going to show you the inventory detail. Here you have the inventory value, you have the by product category and product group. You have a table here with measures like margin, closing inventory, purchase quantity, sales quantity, inventory turnover. You have the bottom and top turnover items. You have the top out of stock items. Then you have a list of out of stock days. So, or table bar chart with out of stock days. So this is a count of instances where a item went out of stock. So this is the hierarchy here does not go deeper than product group. So to be able to see the data on item level, you would drill from here. So you drill through to the item details. So now you have this product group 95 with the out of stock days. You have the inventory value, and you have the percentage of value by store. So I'm not gonna sort here by out of stock days because I want to see this item here. So now I'm showing the inventory value for item 15933, And you can see that it went out of stock here, and you fill the shelves here again in July or end of June. It went out of stock, and then a month passed before you would fill the shelves again. Again here, went out of stock, and you have, what, 2 months waiting with empty shelves. So this is something that can be fixed. Yeah. So now I'm going back here to this page here, and this will conclude my part of the demo.
Jon, you can continue with the
Thank
hotels.
you. So yeah, hi there. So the hotels report is the newest member in our report portfolio. And in this first edition of the report, the user is presented with 4 main pages. The first page is an overview of 4 basic hotel KPIs, and the other 3 pages display historical values for the KPIs on 3 different date intervals. So here we have the KPIs on top. First is the average daily rate, which is the average rental income per occupied room. Then we have the average occupancy rate, which is the ratio of occupied rooms to available rooms. The last 2 are the RevPAR and TRevPAR, which stand for revenue per available room and total revenue per available room. The difference is that RevPAR accounts only for the room revenue, but the TRevPAR also accounts for food, beverages, and other types of revenues. On the graphs in the lower half of the page, you can see historical values of the average occupancy rate. The graph on the left is split between months, and graph on the right is split between weekdays. Everything on this page is calculated using the whole data set, but if you want to limit your data set to a room type or specific dates, you can do that by applying filters. Here I have filtered my data set to deluxe rooms and the years 2018 and 2020. The second page gives the last 30-day insights. Here you can switch between the KPIs and choose which one you want to display on the graphs. Now displayed are the historical values of the average daily rate. Here we have the average occupancy rate, the RevPAR, and lastly TRevPAR. The third page shares the same layout but displays the KPIs on a different date interval. The second page had the last 30-day insights, but the third page has the last 4-week insights. The fourth page has similar insights as the previous 2, but the layout has been changed. And an additional visual has been added where the change between months is shown. And in future versions of the hotels report, you can expect to see improvements in most areas. That is, more KPIs, be able to manipulate your dataset with more filters, and dig deeper into the data through the visuals.
So, thank you everyone for attending today's webinar, Getting Started on the Path to Your Data Insights. You will receive a follow-up email within the next few days with a link to a recording of today's webinar and other material. On behalf of Ellis Riedel and our presenters, thank you for joining us today and have a great rest of your day. And stay safe.